What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. How are you all doing? Hope you're doing very well. We had finally the announcement of the Demon Hunter trees. One of them, anyway. We don't have Vengeance yet, but we do have Havoc. More importantly, we have the class tree, and we're going to go through that today. That's going to be the video for today. We're going to talk about everything on the class tree here. There's some really good stuff. And finally, Blizzard does have all the classes done for the talent calculator. So, again, I think a lot of people were worried about the timeline, right, for Blizzard, that are they going to get everything done in time, especially with this new potential release date of October 28th for the pre-patch. And again, if you think about it right now, they've got basically a solid 2 months, 2 whole months to iterate on this stuff and make it right. So I think they're well on their way to getting this done in time. We've already seen tons of iteration on the other talent trees, especially like Hunter. So you can see even if they've got some talent trees that start out in kind of a sorry state, that they're going to make them good again. So let's talk about Demon Hunter. What do I think about this tree? The class tree in general, guys, is really great. It's kind of everything you want. It's almost entirely utility and defensives and really cool class fantasy stuff. It has very little throughput. There's a little bit on the bottom there, but by and large, it doesn't have a lot of throughput, and that is exactly what you want to see. You want your throughput to be in the spec tree, in my opinion. I think a lot of people are kind of figuring out that that's kind of how these trees should be structured. The Demon Hunter one is exactly like that. And also, one really interesting point about the Demon Hunter one is the amount of sharing that's going on between Havoc and Vengeance. Let me just move this. So Vengeance and Havoc are basically like giving each other a whole bunch of major cooldowns and abilities. So, for example, the Havoc side's on the left, and the Vengeance side's on the right. And like, Vengeance has a bunch of sigils. Like, Havoc did not have access to Sigil of Mercy or Sigil of Silence, or any cooldown reduction or ways to move your sigils around. Sigil of Flame as well. So that's stuff that now the Havoc Demon Hunter can pick up and bring extra utility to his like Mythic Plus team in a dungeon. Like, this is insanely strong utility in Mythic Plus. On the other side, what's Havoc giving to Vengeance? Well, there's a ton of movement speed and things like Vengeful Retreat. So you could jump out of a pack and then slow them all by 70%. Demon Hunter, even Vengeance DH, tends to do a lot of kiting because they have lots of mobility. You could do even more kiting with Vengeful Retreat. You get movement speed whenever you use Infernal Strike. Your Mastery can increase your movement speed. And then you can get stuff like AoE Chaos Nova, which you did not have access to as a Vengeance Demon Hunter. So some very cool flip-floppings, sharing, going back and forth between the two specs that is not actually obviously happening in Shadowlands. So that's the major thing with this tree. It's very well structured. It's got all the abilities you're going to want on it, and there's a lot of cool sharing going on, and we're going to get to all of it right now. So let's just dive right in. Let me start with the top section here. Again, left side's Havoc, right side is Vengeance. There is an interesting thing at the bottom right before I get to that. Again, we don't have all of the information yet on the Vengeance stuff. For example, the Vengeance tree looks like this right now. So it's not even a tree. It's just a bunch of abilities that they're thinking is going to be in here. These are not like final by any means. So instead, we do have this down here, though, and this is called Soul Carver. It's a 1-minute cooldown that was the Vengeance artifact ability in Legion. Right? So this is the Vengeance artifact weapon. Soul Cleaver was the main ability that you got out of that. So it's interesting that it's down here in the regular sort of class abilities or spec abilities, like whatever you want to say. So I'm assuming that's going to show up on the Vengeance tree when we get there. That's my guess. But I don't really know. It's just cool that it's there. Actually, I like that it's there. That's really, really neat. So that's the only thing that was kind of interesting there. There is a Fodder to the Flame thing here as well, but that does end up showing up over on the Havoc tree right here. So I'm assuming it will also show up in the Vengeance tree. I think both of them are going to get access to that. So just a couple notes there. So let's look at the top side of the tree here. Left side, we've got Vengeful Retreat. You have 20 extra Fury. This is basically I would call this a bit of a nerf maybe to Havoc, but a buff to Vengeance, because Vengeance only gets 100 maximum Fury, and Havoc gets 120, just baseline. So you have to put 2 points into this for Havoc to get your regular Fury amount, but for Vengeance, they just get 20 extra Fury from this, which is pretty crazy, actually, if you're able to bank up a little bit of extra Fury and then spend it all at once. So it's not game-breaking by any means, but it's kind of nice. Vengeful Retreat slows everybody. Once again, I think this is very, very good for Vengeance. They don't have Vengeful Retreat at all. This is a Havoc ability. So imagine just like you're in the middle of a Necrotic week and you need to get out. You just pop Vengeful Retreat, and now you've slowed all those enemies by 70%. That's a massive slow. And then your Windwalker Monk can put his Ring of Peace down and make sure that you're able to drop your Necrotic stacks before going back in. So, like, that is kind of how that could work for Vengeance. For Havoc, of course, this goes right into your Momentum playstyle, yada, yada, yada. That's we all know how that playstyle works. So, on the right side, we've got our event. Again, Vengeance. You have Sigil of Flame. In the middle, you've got Throw Glaive as an additional charge, and it now ricochets to 2 targets. This only says 1 target, but I'm putting 2 points into it. I'm assuming it's going to be 2 targets the same way it is on live, okay? You got your kick here, which actually this just increases the range of your kick to 10 yards, which I think is the baseline amount. And then you're obviously going to get 30 Fury. So the interrupt is a little bit sad. We're a little sad about that because the interrupt on live already has a 10-yard range, and it already gives you 30 Fury when you do it correctly. So unfortunately, you're going to have to do 2 talent points just to get your regular kickback. But again, guys, you have to remember every single class, every single spec has these kinds of talents. These are kind of those filler talents that like you wish you didn't have to take, but the reality is instead of us having 7 talent rows where we get to pick 7 choices, we now get 61 talent points. So there's going to be filler ones like this, like getting your Disrupt, getting Imprison, getting Consume Magic. They're all going to be there. We need to, that's just the way it is. We got to get used to it. Consume Magic, again, the baseline ability of this, giving you 20 Fury back. That's baseline in Shadowlands. You have to put 2 points into it if you really want to get that extra Fury. But again, what's interesting about this is in a raid fight where Consume Magic is very likely useless, you don't have to take it now. That's the benefit of this, right? Even having a kick, a Disrupt, like you could save 4 points right here. 4 points. And instead you could just grab all the other stuff on the rest of the tree because you're not going to need Consume Magic and you're not going to need Disrupt because you can't disrupt the raid boss, right? So that is the advantage of this new system. Yes, you have to pick abilities that you didn't have to pick before, but you also don't have to pick them if you don't need them. And you could legitimately have a setup where you pick up more throughput with Sigil of Flame, with maybe some extra healing from Charred Warblades, Vengeful Retreat stuff, whatever you want, okay? So it's kind of neat that way. Critical Strike chance of Immolation Aura is here. It has 3 ways to get to it, though. Again, you can take Imprison or Disrupt or Consume Magic, whichever way you want to go to get to Aura Pain. That's very good. Charred Warblades is really interesting to me because the fire damage on Vengeance is pretty strong, right? You have Sigil of Flame happening all the time. You've got, I believe, Fell Devastation is fire damage as well. Let me just check that right now. It is. It does fire damage, yes. Also, Fiery Brand does fire damage. Sigil of Flame does fire damage. Immolation Aura does fire damage. So you can imagine this is only 5% of your fire damage as healing, but that adds up really quickly. When you have Immolation Aura ticking, when you threw a Sigil of Flame down and it's doing damage over time, when you press Fell Devastation, all that stuff in a Mythic Plus environment in particular is going to do a ton of healing over time. So this is a massive deal, in my opinion, for Vengeance Demon Hunter. Lots of healing coming from this. This might surprise you how much healing this does in the Mythic Plus environment, okay? All right, so that's the top part of the tree. Let's get to the middle section of the tree here. Let me just back these up. So left side, we just have Soul Leech healing and Chaos Nova. Those are the 2 big ones. So Soul Rending is here. You get 20% leech with meta, 10% leech all the time. And then you get Chaos Nova. Again, Vengeance Demon Hunter does not have Chaos Nova, guys. So this is a pretty insane cooldown to be able to bring to Mythic Plus as a Vengeance Demon Hunter for your team, getting an extra CC. I mean, Vengeance Demon Hunter already gets Sigil of Misery and Sigil of Silence. Now you're also going to get an AoE stun. So, like, so much crowd control and usability coming from the Demon Hunter as a Vengeance now. And again, they're stealing it from the Havoc side, which is really, really cool tech there. Throw Glaive snaring enemies is very good in combination with Bouncing Glaives. Again, Infernal Strike gives you movement speed. That sort of just ties in with the theme of Havoc. Let me just look here. Yeah, that doesn't happen right now. No, it doesn't. Abyssal Strike just puts a sigil there. So, yeah. So movement speed. Magic damage reduced by 4%. Very cool. I don't know what the baseline tattoos are giving for Vengeance in particular, right? So, there's like a baseline right now passive for Vengeance that reduces all damage you take and also reduces magic damage you take. So I don't know how much of that. Oh, here it is here. Right. So there's the 5%. So I think this is on top of the 5%. And I guess I should have looked at this earlier, but there's your tattoos right there, guys. So you take 5% less magic damage. All Demon Hunters get that. And then you get another 4% here. So I think you're taking 9% less magic damage, which is very, very good. That's like quite strong. Lots of magic damage reduction there. Very cool. Again, Chaos Nova's here. Leech is here. Look at the middle of the middle here. The middle section. Middle area. Cooldown of Metamorphosis by 60 seconds. This is like kind of maddening because of how bad the Paladin talent tree is. I was comparing this directly, and maybe I shouldn't do that, but the Paladin talent tree has you take Avenging Wrath and then reduce its cooldown by 60 seconds, which is just absolutely terrible. The Demon Hunter gets Metamorphosis baseline, and then they get to reduce the cooldown by 60 seconds. They're different, like, cooldowns. Like, they function differently, and I understand that, but I just really wish that the Paladin tree would be learning some lessons here from the Demon Hunter tree, because this is terrible, having to take your major cooldown. I just want to say that out loud. So one thing that's interesting about this is that the cooldown, the Metamorphosis cooldown is 4 minutes for Havoc, and it's 3 minutes for Vengeance. I don't know if that's going to stay the same way, but it means that Havoc can get a 3-minute meta, Vengeance can get a 2-minute meta. So that's interesting. We'll get to why that matters in a minute. Fellblade is here. Very, very consistent way to generate Fury, which is awesome. That's really, really awesome. So this is really, really cool. So this shared a talent row, obviously, with other talents that were potentially taken more often. So like Agonizing Flames and Abyssal Strike for Vengeance. Those were those ones. But I forget what the ones were for. I think it was like Demon Bite and something else for Havoc. I'm not going to switch right now. But the point is, this is right smack dab in the middle of the talent tree, which means you can basically take it on any build for either spec, and that's incredibly good. Because this is a great generator of Fury for both of them. 40 Fury. That's a lot of Fury. And you can reset it. So I really like this. I love this talent a lot. I don't think it was necessarily taken all the time in Shadowlands because of like tier set bonuses and other reasons to take other talents. But now it's like free, man. It's right in the middle. You're going to take Metamorphosis cooldown reduction every time. And so you might as well just take Fellblade. It's one extra little talent. So very strong. Like this a lot. Immolation Aura stuff, increasing your armor by 10%. That's a talent in the Vengeance tree. Yep. Then we have this choice note here, which doesn't really make any sense to me. Sort of. Let me talk about it. So you've got Demonic, which we all know and love. I-Beam causes you to enter a demon form. Also, Fell Devastation will do the same thing. It's just not implemented yet because they don't have the Vengeance trees done. But Fell Devastation or I-Beam make you a demon for 6 seconds. Very, very good. It's very good for Havoc because it transforms your abilities into stronger abilities, right? Like Annihilation and your Blade Rush gets a... is it become Annihilation? I can't remember. But you get your Blade Dance and your Chaos Strike become better. For Vengeance, it's good. It gives you lots of maximum health, and it does give you some extra throughput, but mostly it's about survival for Vengeance. It's not about so much the throughput. So Demonic is great. Demonic Origin says the cooldown of meta goes down by 2 minutes, but its duration is reduced by 10 seconds. So this is not bad, actually, for Havoc. And might be very good for Vengeance. So right now, meta lasts for 30 seconds. I don't know if they have it here, but in the base game right now, meta lasts for 30 seconds. I keep saying 3. 30 seconds. That's a long, long, long time. So obviously Demonic helps you bridge the gap between this being, if it's like a 4-minute cooldown and a 3-minute cooldown, that's a long time to have to wait for meta to come off cooldown. So if you're getting the Demonic procs on I-Beam, it kind of fills in the gaps until you get your major cooldown back. But taking Demonic Origins, making, for Havoc, it's now a 2-minute cooldown. And instead of it lasting 30 seconds, it lasts 20 seconds, which is pretty good. That's still a long time. And now it's half the cooldown that it was before. So you can use it twice as often. And if you take this talent and you use meta twice in that 4-minute window, then you're getting 40 seconds of meta versus the 30 seconds of meta that you would have gotten before. But obviously you're not getting the proc on I-Beam. So really it's going to be about, like, what situation are you in? Is this a raid boss fight where, like, a 2-minute meta matters? Or for Vengeance, do you just want a 1-minute meta all the time? Because you could have a 1-minute meta that lasts 20 seconds instead of a 3-minute meta that lasts 30 seconds. So, like, for Vengeance, I feel like the 1-minute meta is very strong. That feels, like, really good to me. So, actually, wait. Am I reading this wrong? Wait. You're already getting meta down by 60 seconds. Am I crazy? Okay, I'm actually not sure how this is going to work, because right now, let me just look at the game. I'm in Vengeance spec, and meta is a 3-minute cooldown. This would make it a 2-minute cooldown. This would make it have no cooldown. But that doesn't make any sense, right? That doesn't make any sense at all. So we're going to have to see how they implement this. But for Havoc, I'm actually confused now, because maybe it's a 1-minute cooldown. I think I'm reading this wrong. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm switching to Havoc. So meta for Havoc is 4 minutes, but this would make it go down to 3 minutes, and this would make it go down to 1 minute, which would be actually bananas. If it was a 1-minute cooldown and it lasted for 20 seconds, that's very, very good. That means that the choice between Demonic and Demonic Origins would be very substantial. So we're going to have to see. I can't test this on Alpha. I have no idea. I don't think anybody can yet. So we're going to have to see kind of exactly what this means. But if this means that Havoc gets a 1-minute meta, that's bananas. It doesn't mean that Vengeance gets a 0-minute meta. Like just meta has no cooldown. They're going to have to figure this out for Vengeance. I don't know how this is going to work. So we'll have to wait and see. But either way, I think both these talents are actually quite strong. The right side is just Sigils all day. So again, Spectral Sight Tech, which, whatever, that's like a PvP thing. You get Precise Sigils or Concentrated Sigils, okay? And then you're going to get Max Health, which is very good for Vengeance, and then Sigil of Misery, which is very, very good for both of them, but it's amazing for Havoc in Mythic Plus because you haven't had that before. Let's get to the bottom of the tree. Let's take Demonic Origins because we're geeking chads. On the left side, you've got some Chaos Nova tech, so you can make the cooldown of Chaos Nova down by about 12 seconds, which is kind of whatever. You can take it from a 1-minute cooldown to a 40-second cooldown and then reduce its cost by 50%, which is very good. Or you can get each enemy stunned by Chaos Nova has a chance to generate a lesser soul fragment. This is throughput for Vengeance. This is healing throughput. So not only does Vengeance now get Chaos Nova, now they also will get lesser soul fragments from it, which is very, very strong for healing. I can't tell you how good this is in Mythic Plus. Like, this is bananas in Mythic Plus. Really, really good. You're going to get Blur, which, again, Vengeance doesn't have access to Blur. They're getting another cooldown, 50% dodge. Right now, it also says that it reduces damage taken by 20%. That looks like that's an additional talent somewhere else. I don't know. That's not on this tree. It might be on the Vengeance tree. I didn't see it on the Havoc tree. Somebody let me know if it is there, but I didn't see it. I looked around. I didn't see it anywhere. So the point is, even if this just gives you 50% dodge, it's another 1-minute cooldown for Vengeance, which is absolutely crazy. Then Demonic Appetite is here, which says Chaos Strike has a chance to spawn a lesser soul fragment. Consuming it gives you 15 Fury. Again, Vengeance is creating lesser soul fragments all the time with Sheer. So I don't know how this is going to work with Vengeance. If it's going to say Chaos Strike or Sheer generate additional soul fragments, because like Sheer already does that. So I don't know what this is going to look like for Vengeance, but for right now, this is a standard talent that was in the Havoc tree that you can pick up for extra Fury, which again, that is technically throughput, but it's not like giant throughput, but it's still good. And then you can get Desperate Instincts, which takes Blur giving you additional damage reduction, and then you automatically trigger Blur with 50% reduced cooldown and duration when you fall below 35% health. So it's like a bit of a helpful cheat death there for Vengeance. I know it's not like a true cheat death, but that's going to help Vengeance a lot. The bottom line here, guys, is that Havoc is giving Vengeance Chaos Nova, which generates soul fragments, and they're giving them Blur. And they're giving them Darkness. Let's move to the middle of the tree. This is insane, all the defensive cooldowns that Vengeance is getting. Honestly, all this stuff in the class tree alone is like completely busted for Vengeance from a survival point of view. So Darkness is here. Again, 20% chance to avoid all damage from an attack. This increases the priority on Vengeance Demon Hunter in a raid, actually. So it means you could, because this is very helpful for everybody. Let's say like Sludge Fist is slamming into the pillar. You drop Darkness and everybody stands in it. There's a really good chance that half your raid is probably not going to take any damage at all, which is insanely helpful. Now, this was brought usually on a Havoc Demon Hunter because it was only a Havoc thing, but now Vengeance can bring it, which is very, very cool. Very, very cool. Now, we've also got Duration of Darkness by 2 seconds, which is kind of really bad. Or the cooldown by 2 minutes. So now it's a 3-minute cooldown. Very strong. 3-minute Darkness is bananas. Then we've got Sigil of Silence, as I said before. The Hunt is back. Very powerful. It operates the exact same way. You charge your target, striking them for a crazy amount of damage, rooting them, and inflicting more damage over time. On up to 5 enemies within your path. So you still have to aim it properly to get the full damage. Then it heals you for 50% of the damage you deal for 30 seconds. Again, Vengeance, man. They're getting Blur. They're getting Chaos Nova. They're getting Darkness. They're getting the Hunt. Like, holy crap. How many cooldowns do you need? And then you can get the Hunt damage over time by 30%, or the cooldown of the Hunt by 12 seconds whenever an enemy that is killed while afflicted by the damage over time. So in Mythic Plus, right, you charge into a pack, you're burning them for only 6 seconds. So you'd have to be very careful about trying to get the cooldown correctly done. Like in higher Mythic Plus, it's probably not going to work correctly, so then you would just take the other one. But it's very cool. That tech is very, very cool there, I think. You could potentially reduce the cooldown of this thing by a little bit anyway. 12, it's reduced by 12 seconds whenever an enemy is killed. So if you time this properly, you could get a lot of cooldown reduction. Like you could potentially just reset the Hunt legitimately. Okay, the right side's just Sigils all day long. This is really good. Demon Muzzle. Enemies take 8% reduced magic damage for 8 seconds after being afflicted by one of your sigils. Any of your sigils. So like Sigil of Flame, Sigil of Misery, Sigil of Silence. They're all there, right? So you can just have 8% DR happening all the time, especially in Mythic Plus. This is crazy, right? Because your sigils will hit all enemies. So very good stuff right there. Yeah, then we've got the Sigil tech over here. Sigil of Misery. You've got cooldown or enemies take more damage. You can help your team do more damage, which is really good. Duration of your sigils go up by 2 seconds, and then you have quicken sigils. All sigils activate 1 second faster, and their cooldowns are reduced by 20%. So if you need the crowd control, if you need all the sigil tech in Mythic Plus, that's where you would take it. If you don't need it, though, as a Vengeance Demon Hunter, you could just take the Hunt instead, and then go down this Chaos Nova side over here, and get a bunch of cool stuff over there. So that is the tree. That's the class tree, guys. What do we think about this? I think that this is insane. Like, it's good. It's good. It's a very, very good start. It's mostly centered around crowd control and defensives, which is a great place for any class tree to be. It also centers around this idea of sharing. Havoc is giving Vengeance a lot of really good stuff. Vengeance is giving Havoc some really good stuff as well. So that is like really cool to see. I think Vengeance is the absolute winner here. Like the amount of cooldowns you get is crazy. Chaos Nova, Blur, Chaos Nova giving you lesser soul sharpens, Darkness for your entire team, but also for you. The Hunt healing you for 50% of all damage that you deal. This metamorph thing is actually very good. Demonic versus demonic origins. We're gonna have to see exactly how this kind of pans out. But the whole metamorphosis is really getting it's getting like a good amount of tech in here as well. And the rest of it is just solid, guys. Really, really good. extra bonuses too. You know, getting Fury from your Disrupt, Consume Magic giving you Fury, getting movement speed on a Vengeance, but having Vengeful Retreat as Vengeance, getting all these sigils as Havoc, giving you extra crowd control for your team in a Mythic Plus environment. Very, very strong. So, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I think they're off to a good start. Demon Hunter's off to a very good start, and I can't wait to check out the Havoc tree and the Vengeance tree, which I will do in the coming days. So, thank you so much again for watching. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember, August 29th, guys, I'm doing a 24-hour stream. Show up. Be there. Come check it out. August 29th at 12 noon Eastern, we're doing a 24-hour stream. I'd love to see you guys there. Thank you so much again. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one.